Be a part of the best pro wrestling podcast today by supporting the Going In Raw Patreon. You can enjoy access to the live taping of the show, exclusive merchandise, and patron-only episodes, and so much more. Support Going In Raw today. Click the link in the description.
This is Charlotte, and you're watching Going In Raw. That sounds terrible.
What's up? This is the most must-see WWE superstar of all time and his lovely, gorgeous wife,
Marie.
and you are going in SmackDown Live. Who needs Raw?
What's up? It's your girl Sasha Banks, the legit boss, and you are watching Going In Raw.
Oh, baby, I like it raw. Oh, baby, I like it raw. And you are tuned in to Going In Raw right now. How you doing?
Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you guys need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson. I'm not doing this. I'm not used to doing this on Mondays without Dan because he's been around for the last couple ones.
I know.
No Dan today. I apologize for all you Dan lovers out there, which number in the many.
Yes.
And then for the minor people who are like, I'm not so into the Dan episodes, congratulations, you get a Danless episode.
Yeah.
I miss him.
Me too.
I miss Dan. I was disappointed this morning when he DM'd us. He slid into our DMs and was like, network was on the fritz last night. I'll be back for Survivor Series.
The network wasn't... Did you have any network problems yesterday?
I don't know if it was network or if it was my internet because mine got pixely from time to time.
Yeah, mine did too.
At one point, my daughter was playing with the TV remote control with her feet and changed the input. But I don't think it's a network problem. That's just a problem with Alabama.
Yeah.
Well, it's her foot fetish for my remote control.
My stream got pixely and compressed looking several times, then started kind of skipping and freezing up a bit.
Mine didn't
during
get
the main event.
Mine didn't get that bad, but it did get pixely a lot. And normally, like my Apple TV network is totally fine.
Yeah.
So a lot of people watching last night to watch history being made.
Before we get to that, though, I think we need to talk about these predictions we did and how I'm dominating you on a network special by network special basis.
Oh my goodness, I know it's too much. Are we
gonna
talk about the elephant in the room? Me being pissed off you for censoring my shit.
Oh, we need to talk about that. There's nothing to talk about.
Nothing to talk about.
What was I going to say? Oh yeah, predictions.
One day I'm gonna do a shoot interview. I'll be like, yeah, no, this is what really happened. Like we don't disagree very often.
There's nothing to talk about.
But well, now that we've quashed it sort of behind the scenes.
Yeah.
We're not gonna air our laundry in public.
We don't do that.
Sometimes I wake up and I want to do that.
Well, I saw that there was something you put up on Twitter and then took down. I don't know if
that video's still there.
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
Oh.
There was a deleted tweet. I don't know if it was directed towards me. But anyways,
I believe that's what they call a subtweet.
Whatever.
You don't tag people in subtweets.
I understand, but whatever. Let's get back to these predictions.
Oh, it's Halloween. I forgot to do this.
Yeah, I came as Kevin Owens. Can you tell?
You came. Hey, okay. When you were a kid, did you ever have the costume? Okay, so there was let's say, for example, you want to be Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Okay. So there was costumes out there where it was like Darth Vader. You get Darth Vader mask, what he wears.
Yeah.
But then there are those weird costumes out there. Why anybody would want this?
That was just the shirt with Darth Vader on it.
Right.
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Darth Vader never wore a Darth Vader shirt, from what I know. I would love when Rogue One comes out for them maybe to retcon that and show him wearing his own shirt.
That'd be cool.
So anyways.
Darth Vader is a Darth Vader fan.
Who am I?
You're Steve with a Sting mask on.
I'm NWO Sting.
Well, you don't have your NWO shirt on, so.
I'm sure he might have worn a Pulp Fiction shirt before, Pulp Fiction with Kitty Cat Head shirt
Possibly.
before.
Anyways, back to predictions. I was going to say that I'm one Vince sudden
it's in my cart.
Mind change.
Are you having an aneurysm right now?
Kind of. Like I said,
it's just like me talking to Charlotte.
How you doing, Charlotte? It's early in the morning. I'm tired.
One day we're gonna release that video of me being an absolute.
I'm no better. So,
and I remember that so sums up Going In Raw. I turn to you. Do you have any questions?
I start to ask one and then I lose my train of I can't get out of my mouth. I just couldn't do it.
Idiots.
Anyways, if Vince hadn't changed his mind on the main event, according to Meltzer, who says that Vince changed his mind that Sasha was originally supposed to go over, I would have got Hell in the Cell. I would have predicted everything correct, perfect.
Right. I mean, what
Perfect
ifs?
10.
What ifs? No what ifs. So basically what you're saying is See, this is what we should be doing with our predictions. How do you think it's going to go down right now? Like, what are their thoughts right now versus what's Vince going to wake up?
Paul, hey, it's Vince.
Yeah, I know I've got you on.
It's Vince. Listen, I've had 2 revelations. Number 1, people might like women in the main event.
Because according to Meltzer also, as of Tuesday, it was going to be Owens versus Rollins in the main event.
Yeah.
And I don't care what they say, the main event is what goes on last.
Yes.
Paul, another thing. Sasha loses in her hometown. You know what I love doing? Is putting people in their hometowns and making them lose.
He loves doing that.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I don't get that either. You think they'd want like the big pop? I'm fine with it either way. If this extends, although again, probably you read the same thing this morning. They're looking at Bayley versus Charlotte.
Yeah, she called out Charlotte kind of on Raw Talk.
You know what? I don't mind this because I think it's sort of, number one, I don't mind it anyways because Charlotte is an amazing freaking champion.
Yeah, she's
like
good.
she's
real good.
She is the foundation. She's the one you're going to be able to count on.
Yeah.
For ever and ever and ever. So I'm fine doing that. We'll talk about the actual match and what I didn't like about the way they did it in a sec. But I'm fine with Charlotte because I like Charlotte versus Bayley and then Bayley versus a heel Sasha. Charlotte versus Bayley, then a heel Sasha after that with Bayley. But in the meantime, maybe Sasha versus Nia Jax or something. I don't know how to go.
I just kind of felt like Sasha holding the belt till Mania. She can still do
No,
a heel
I know,
turn.
I know.
Sasha Bayley at Mania is money.
Yeah, I know.
That's huge money.
You can still do. Well, it's coming up. It's coming up fast.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know. We can talk about that in a second. So yeah, the match itself, though. Let's talk about that, and then we'll talk about where they go from there.
Yeah.
So I said this on the Machinima recap just now. If we were to point to one, a lot of people like Justin LaBar, for example, from WrestleZone. I think. Yeah. He was saying that, and Meltzer said the same thing, that they felt, if they were going to do the main event, the first female main event, they really should have been promoting the hell out of it, building it, weeks or maybe months in advance.
Yes, they could have gotten. I know they got some mainstream press coverage. This last week or so.
Yeah,
but they really could have got a lot more if they had said a month ago, "This is our main event." Not only is it in Hell in a Cell, this is our main event. This is closing the show.
Yeah,
and promoted the hell out of it.
I don't disagree with that at all. I think being so wishy-washy even a week out and calling it the triple main event and nobody knows until the actual show goes on, I think demonstrates such a lack of
vision
of like current day thinking.
Yeah.
That's my problem with it, is it just shows such a lack of like, I don't know. I don't really want to get into the minutia of, what is Kevin Dunn think and what does Vince McMahon think? Because the bottom line is we don't know what they think. And there was that report that Kevin Dunn now all of a sudden doesn't like Becky Lynch's accent, so they're going to give her less promo time. the most over connected to the fans, not even female competitor on SmackDown, but maybe even competitor on SmackDown.
Yeah.
And you're going to start limiting her promo times. If that's true, it's utter and total bullshit and does show complete and total backwards thinking.
Yes.
But I don't know that it's true.
Yeah.
That's a report that we've heard.
Yeah.
There might be many shades of gray.
Yeah.
It might be that you see somebody like Alexa Bliss and her promo skills versus Becky Lynch's promo skills. And I would go with, I like Alexa Bliss's promo skills better. But the bottom line is, Becky Lynch, regardless of, what her accent may be, which I personally find it charming.
Yeah.
Has connected with the fans in a way that very few wrestlers in today's wrestling have.
Yes.
And so
to deny her that connection potentially
is losing you money.
Yeah, it is.
That's the bottom line. It's
I
just
know.
bad for business.
I know.
But, he is where he is. And again, like I said, we don't know what the truth is.
Nope.
We don't really know how things go.
Nope.
So yeah, I don't know. Going back to Charlotte versus Sasha, which is what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Shit, what were we talking about? I totally went.
We
off
haven't
my
even
train
gotten
of
to the
thought.
match really yet.
Yeah, okay. Oh, the main event, the thing about, female main eventing stuff. I get that. I don't think that's a reason. That would have been a reason last night for them to have said, okay, we're not going to have this be the main event, only because we'd like to do a main event that's properly promoted. I thought that it was the obvious choice, like through and through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this should have been 3 months out saying, hey, this is going to be in Hell in a Cell. Maybe nobody could have predicted how over the list of Jericho would have been, in which case the line of thing is, do we really want the list of Jericho to main event this thing? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
of course you don't want to do that, but then I don't see them understanding that was going to be the case. Kind of like Heath Slater and Rhino. There is no way they could have known going into that. There was no way 2 months out from that tag tournament that they would have known that they were booking Heath Slater to win that tag tournament.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was like maybe in the last 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, 2 months, depending on how far along that storyline was. So anyways, I mean, the bottom line is that's what we got. And I think in terms of a good match that you can point to as this is the first time they main evented, was it on the level of Lita versus Trish in that main event for Raw? Maybe not, only because of the very last move.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
That Lita Trish match delivered throughout.
And it built to a crescendo, and when the end happened, it felt like a natural, organic way to end the match.
Exactly. And that's my only gripe about this match is that ending, if the rumor is true out there that up until yesterday it was supposed to be Sasha winning that belt, that title, and then it was changed at the last minute for Charlotte to win it, I would think, and we talk about this off camera, I would think that that's ruining your story.
Yeah.
Because you have all this time. At the very least, you've got 2-3 weeks. When they announced it was going to be them in the Hell in a Cell.
About 3 weeks ago.
Okay,
I think.
so
Not a month.
let's say that they've had 3 weeks to think about this, and all that time they've been telling him Sasha's winning this belt.
Yeah.
Like that's the plan. We're
Yeah.
going with that. Now I have no idea if you would think that they would know that so they can have some time to plan out what kind of story they're going to be telling.
Yeah, you would hope so.
You would hope so, exactly. That would make sense. I know that they probably understand that, hey, this is, we've heard some things about, how people, I mean, even in the dirt sheets, people find out some things when we find out some things. People get the news that morning, that hour. Sometimes they get it a month out. Even Meltzer said that on Twitter when somebody asked him. Yeah, they find out a couple months out. Sometimes they find out that morning. Sometimes they find out an hour before.
Yeah, I remember we were talking about the SummerSlam match between Orton and Lesnar, and it sounded like they hashed out the finish of that match, 2 hours before the show?
Right, exactly. So you never know when they're knowing, but at the same time, you would think that would have been a like we said, a lock.
Yeah.
And so
But to your point about, one would assume, took a month to book out. I'm sure the agent worked with Sasha and Charlotte to work out the spots to build that story, to build that narrative, and at the last minute when the conclusion changes, obviously you don't have time to change everything that preceded it.
Right, exactly.
So what seemed like a natural finish, which would be, because the story is Charlotte, before the match even starts, gains the upper hand, and there's this ebb and flow going back and forth between the two, where Sasha will get beat down some, overcome, continually selling the back injury, which she has sold for 2 months now.
Yeah.
At the end, she manages to get the victory against, seemingly all odds. But when that doesn't happen, it kind of deflates the match a bit. I mean, you saw from the reaction of the crowd where the finish happened. Granted, it was in Boston. I'm sure they were all assuming that Sasha was going to win because that's her hometown.
Right.
But nonetheless,
Right.
Charlotte wins, and it feels, this is in no way any disrespect to Charlotte because she did great. And as you said, she's a great champion. It felt underwhelming.
Yeah. And it was kind of, it felt stunted.
Yeah.
It felt the literal definition of retarded. You know what I mean? Like it was halted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even with Charlotte winning, which I every bone in my body wanted Sasha to win that thing.
Yeah.
But with Charlotte winning, which I thought the best sort of correlation that I could think of is the audience reaction when Cena got murdered by Brock Lesnar, because Charlotte did kind of destroy Sasha through the majority of that match.
Yeah,
like
but that was the story.
That was the story.
And if the conclusion was Sasha coming back and winning, that's a good story, and that's a good, just if you look at it objectively, you have the history of the first women's match in Hell in a Cell, the first women's match to headline a pay-per-view. This logical conclusion is having Sasha win in her hometown.
Yeah.
That just seems to make the most sense.
Yeah.
And then to not do that,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's kind of a deflating way to end the match.
Yeah. It was deflating. And it's It does. It places that kind of that's a bummer.
Because that could have been a transcendent moment. Sasha winning that match.
Yeah, I know.
It really could have been.
I know. But at the same time, dude, though, it could have been a transcendent moment on the flip side of the coin in terms of like your heel heat if there was more of a build to that finish.
Yeah.
That was my thing, is that when I say it was a stunted finish, I mean that crowd was just sort of stunned into, wait, that's it? Really?
Well, and,
that happened?
That table was supposed to break.
Oh, no, I know.
And whether that was the high impact spot or if it was enough of a high impact spot to lead to natural selection and to the finish, who knows?
Yeah.
But at least the visual of Sasha going through that table might have kicked that ending up a notch.
You know what's funny though is that I don't know. You know how it goes sometimes, man. There's like, when a match gets furious towards the end and you're building towards that finish, I thought even with that table breaking, like in my mind, I actually thought that Sasha's ragdolled body being thrown into the table and it not breaking only kind of, I thought, was a bit more impactful than a table actually breaking.
It's just not the visual.
Visually, you're right.
Of a
but
table
I still
breaking.
think that the visual of a table breaking, there's still not that build that I thought. That was my only thing that I thought the match lacked at the end was the build. Even if Charlotte was booked to go over, it lacked that build of Sasha coming back, and then no, she stomps her and kills her. It was more like, it was just sort of a gradual, like Sasha's just getting her ass whooped and she keeps on coming back, but it's just, she's
there was
getting her
never a
ass whooped.
point where it felt like Sasha was making her last stand. Maybe
Right,
that's what it needed.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's like there was never that last stand and then Charlotte puts her down. It was Charlotte just put her down.
The closest thing you could think of Sasha making her last stand was when she was in the figure eight and took the chair to Charlotte. It felt like,
I thought was a really good moment.
I wish they had gone a little bit further with that.
Yeah.
Like if Sasha had wailed on her a bit with that chair a bit more.
Yeah.
But
and I'll be honest with you, and we talked about this, and I'll stand by it. I think the image of them both bloodied would have been amazing. I think that would have been so much more of a, oh my God, this is brutal, and I kind of get why Sasha lost.
Yeah.
As opposed to what we got, which was her broken, but still there was that lack. There was sort of anticlimactic at the end there. Because, and I think, and I say the blood thing, I think that blood is an effective and safe way,
if done properly.
If done properly. It's like we've seen one occasion when Eddie went too far, when it's no fault of anybody's, I think, because he just accidentally nicked the wrong place.
Yeah.
And he ended up bleeding everywhere and fainted at the end, or backstage.
Well, yeah, he went into shock.
Yeah, exactly. That was one moment in the number. I mean, every time we do one of these, we did a Hell in a Cell, we did some research for that, for the best and worst. And a lot of blood spilt. Everybody's fine.
Yep.
It's just like, except, when Bob Orton.
Yeah.
Woo, boy, watching that one was hard to watch.
Yeah.
Knowing the dude had allegedly Hep C.
Yeah.
And, Undertaker didn't know.
Yeah.
And he's getting all in it.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That was nasty.
I know.
And to know, I'm pretty sure, I'm almost positive he bladed. Could be wrong, but like the shots that he took that were supposed to prompt the blood didn't seem very hard.
Yeah.
Like it just, yeah. But I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
So anyways, I thought it was a really, really good match with an ending that was kind of baffling, anticlimactic.
Yeah.
But in a way, I was okay with it. And I don't mean to defend something that, I think my problem was this. When most people on Twitter at Real Going in Raw, when we live tweet, are responding with, was that a botch? When they're looking more at what might have been an error,
Yeah.
then I think you have a problem
Yes.
with your ending.
Yes.
If it was Charlotte more, I don't know. That's my main problem, is that the story wasn't in the end told effectively so that people bought into the story.
Yes.
And instead they're wondering about backstage shenanigans, political shenanigans.
Well,
was she supposed to go over? Was
let's-
it a ref botch?
Let's think of something. Let's see if we can, let's say we are the agent in charge of orchestrating that match, working
My
with
name is Fit Finley.
Sasha and Charlotte.
Yeah.
And Vince comes to us that morning and says, okay, we're changing the finish of this match.
Yeah.
And we have to, on the fly, say, okay, how can we alter the story? Granted, we can't do a lot of changes.
Change everything, yeah.
How can we alter the story to make the conclusion seem motivated and organic and make sense and generate, a reaction from the audience that we want?
Yeah.
How can we do that?
You know what? I think this is there's two things that I've done off top of my head. If everything would have stayed the same during that ending, she tossed her in the table, I think, twice. If she did that 2 more times, and then Vince goes to, or the agent or whoever goes to Kevin Dunn or whoever's directing and says, hey, we need, right before natural selection, we need a good tight, when Shawn Michaels laid out Ric Flair and said, I love you, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, I love you.
Yeah.
It was so well directed because we got that close up of him.
Yeah.
If we had a definitive Charlotte moment where she said, whatever she says, you will never beat me. This is why I'm the queen. Whatever she says, something definitive and a punctuation mark. And then we get a different angle with the natural selection because we were on wide angle with the natural selection. That's why it felt just the direction itself.
Yeah.
And the lack of, it could be dialogue that, the camera barely picks up, but you can see her mouth move.
Yeah.
Those moments go so far in punctuating your story.
Yeah.
It's like you're never on my level. Whatever she says,
Well,
some great little line of dialogue.
earlier in the match, she was yelling at Sasha. Charlotte was, what was she saying? You better respect me? Something along those lines.
Right.
Save that for the end, maybe.
Yeah. And what's funny is that
Or you will respect me.
Charlotte sent out that tweet saying, showing respect to Sasha. And that was probably her, saying, this is fucked up. You should have fucking retained. Like I'm gonna put you over as much as I can because they wouldn't let me put you over last night.
Yeah.
Because Charlotte's game. Charlotte knows she's gonna be she's gonna have championship after championship after championship.
Yeah, she might be.
She might eclipse. She might eclipse
champion,
Rick.
Yeah.
So I think that if Vince comes and says, hey. That's in my mind. That's why I imagine how he talks. Change the ending. So Sasha loses. Then I say, okay, well, how do we do the same thing? But instead we'll make it kind of, because I keep on going to that Brock Cena thing.
Yeah.
Where it was like almost shocking, like, oh man, we thought the hometown hero, and I don't think they were in Cena's hometown, but I don't remember where they were.
No, I don't think they were.
But it was still shocking to see John Cena, the most ranked up, leveled up guy in the company, get just ragdolled by Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
And granted, it wasn't the same story here, but that ending could have been similar, and the booze could have rained down on Charlotte and got the true heel heat that I think she knows how to generate.
Yeah.
If they had gone to TV and said, how do we sequence this so that it's more impactful?
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, like from a storytelling standpoint, showing natural selection in wide angle or in a long shot, just looks like another move.
Yeah.
And you think they're going to go to close up and Sasha's going to kick out.
I know. Yeah, that's what I fully expected.
That's what we expected.
Sasha to kick out, yeah.
So to have that mundane.
It would have been an interesting moment if, as you said, Charlotte said something to Sasha right before hitting natural selection or in the process of throwing her to the table multiple times. And, like the first time she does it, Sasha says something back. Second time, she says something back with not as much verve.
Right.
And each time.
Yeah.
And then, Sasha makes one last stand, just saying something or trying to get one last move in before natural selection.
Yeah.
And then have a close-up after Charlotte hits it on Sasha. Close-up on Charlotte, going for the pin.
Yeah.
Make it impactful.
Yeah. What if there's like at the very end that sort of just almost sad moment where Sasha's so broken, but she's trying to swing and they're just completely weak. And I'm thinking of a movie and I can't remember.
Yeah, I know what you're thinking of, yeah.
And she's just trying her damnedest and she's swinging and she just can't. God, fucking what movie I'm thinking of. I'm totally ripping off the end of a movie or some sort of fight scene. Hold on. Give me a second. And I can't think of it.
Okay.
But it's almost pathetic to see her do this because it's obvious that she's not going to win. And then she doesn't win.
Yeah.
And Charlotte just really revels in it. Then you don't have that stunned crowd like, what, this is it?
Yeah.
Then you don't have people saying, was this a botch? Then you have, oh my God, Charlotte's terrifying, and look at what she did to Sasha. And Sasha now has to be the man with no name, go off into a cave somewhere and rejuvenate her injuries and heal up from her injuries and come back and try again against this person who just, in her own hometown, in Hell in a Cell, completely dominated her, and the stakes are raised even more.
Did you notice that they mentioned before the match Charlotte's pay-per-view winning streak?
I did.
And when they said that, I was like, oh, okay.
Somebody mentioned
Charlotte
that on Twitter.
might win
Somebody
now.
mentioned that on Twitter too, and I was like, no, really? Hey, those entrances, especially Charlotte's. Oh my God. She looked great. Mm-hmm. And that robe, it wasn't her standard, and I love her space robe, her like crazy galaxy robe, but this was like so detailed and like
wasn't the lining on the inside gold? I guess that should have given us a hint to who was winning the match.
I know, right? But it was so like meticulously done. I love like analyzing all these things because they really do put a lot of effort.
Well, and I'm sure they're not done, haphazardly.
Right, exactly.
There's a reason.
Somebody deserves credit for that. And I like to give credit for that stuff. But yeah, that was a great entrance, and then Sasha got her takeover entrance. Yeah, and it's funny though because a lot of people out there on Twitter were saying, and me included, it was like, man, I'm worried about what they're gonna do.
I know
these high spots they might do, and I love the route they took though because what you said last time was absolutely perfect. If you establish your story first, and everybody, including myself, was so worried that they weren't going to do that. They were going to go for let's see if we can outmatch the guys and just go for high spots. And thank God they didn't do that because I thought the story they told was much more effective. It was just a brutal encounter where they really worked on Sasha's back. I haven't looked today. I know one of our friendos was there and he said it took her a while to get up. I tend to think that she's probably fine. Yeah. And this wasn't an injury thing.
She was just selling the injury, I'm sure.
She was just selling the injury. This seemed like Vince just saying, hey, let's see what other route we can take this. And I mean, who knows what the writers are cooking up or what they cooked up to say, hey, what makes more sense? You always hope, dude, this is the thing. You always just hope that it's the writers saying we can get more interesting stories out of Charlotte winning. It's a shame they can't do that a couple months out.
I know.
But maybe they look at their landscape and say, Bailey might be losing some luster if we keep her out of the title picture. We want to fast track her so that she can be up to that level of Sasha and Charlotte on the main roster where she deserves to be. Maybe that's what they're doing here,
Well, if it was a creative decision from the creative department, that would make sense. But it just seems like Vince woke up and just had a change of heart. If the reports are true.
I try to give benefit of the doubt.
No, I do too.
It's difficult sometimes, but we know that Vince has done that.
Yeah.
So I hope it's not that. It probably is that. He wakes up one day. What do you think Vince is like when he wakes up?
I imagine he's like 0 to 100 immediately.
You think so?
Yeah.
You don't think there's any grog moment?
No.
Wakes up, just gets up.
I imagine he sleeps maybe 4 to 5 hours a night.
Yeah.
Just gets up and starts going to work.
Seems like he's impatient to wake up.
Yeah.
Like he's bummed out that he slept.
No, I'm sure he's. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if he's the type of guy who doesn't want to sleep.
He like has some like he's like sort of funding this research about how can I not sleep?
How can I sleep but still be awake? Exactly. How can I rejuvenate myself? Staying awake 24 hours a day.
Isn't science still weird about like they don't really know why we sleep?
No, I don't think it's that.
I think that they're like, why does the body do that? Like, I understand that it rejuvenates itself.
Yeah,
but it's like it's so weird.
Because if you don't sleep for long enough, I think you could die. I think that's
really.
Why. Yeah.
Could you die if you don't sleep?
I think so.
Man, I feel like that sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, Vince doesn't like to sneeze.
I know
because it means he loses control.
That's the best Vince story ever.
So
it's loss of control. Let's see here. Let's talk about another match that I thought was stellar.
Rollins versus Owens.
Rollins versus. I thought this was the case of. Hold on a second. I want to say 2 stellar matches, and then a bunch of stuff that could have been on Raw. To be honest with you, I know you're going to say maybe 3 stellar matches.
Well, I wouldn't consider the U.S. title match a stellar match. I would consider it good.
But you'd say it's better than a Raw match.
Yeah,
mostly, it was like a really good Raw main event.
Yeah, mostly by virtue of the fact that it was in the cell, and they don't do that anymore in Raw.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Let's talk about Rollins and Kevin Owens.
Yes.
This really felt, dude, like it felt like Kevin Owens was really, really happy to be in that cage, to be in the cell.
Yeah.
For I think a couple different reasons. Number one, the fact that I think he said this in like his walking to the arena. They had the camera on him for social media, and he said, "I've been waiting for this for 20 years." I think there's that part of him who's just like, Hell in a Cell is like, that's where I want my home to be.
Yes.
I think there's also a part of him who's probably like, I'm the Universal Champion, and as much as I enjoy doing this stuff with Jericho, which I'm sure he does love. I mean, there's as usual in life, there's, man, I really like doing this, but I really like doing this too. And this kind of is a priority. And I think for him, a priority is being the best damn pro wrestler on the planet. I really do think that, he comes off that way. He prides himself in his work.
Yeah.
Rollins is another guy that does that.
Yes.
But Kevin Owens has never been in Hell in a Cell before.
Nope.
And so it looked like he was just ready to dig in.
Yeah, it seemed like he was relishing the opportunity to put on a show in Hell in a Cell.
Exactly. But then I think part of that also is the fact that they haven't really been allowing him to do much that he relishes recently.
Yeah.
It's like he's been... That was my computer. He's been doing this sort of underwhelming Universal Champion.
Yeah, he's been
thing.
kind of the cowardly heel, which I don't think is his strong suit.
It isn't. Opportunist is his strong suit. Picking and choosing his battles is his strong suit.
Yes.
And I'm kind of even disappointed with how early Jericho
Yeah, me too.
got into the cell with
It
them.
was about halfway through the match.
It probably, it felt really quick to me.
The spot where they got him in was funny, where Owens kind of accidentally shoots off the fire extinguisher in the ref's face. That was funny.
I know, that was good.
He sold the idea that he didn't know how to work it really
I know,
well.
he did. He's good on calling audibles like that, on improving. I thought there were a lot of really, really great spots. Again, a brutal match where they were very creative. And I thought that was the thing about Sasha and Charlotte. I thought that was the thing about Rollins and Owens, that they were all very creative with how they were using the cell.
Yeah, they utilized the cell without doing the high spots.
Exactly, because the high spots are so... The problem is this. You're never going to out Foley. You're never going to do that. And I thought that was my main problem with Rollins Ambrose in the cell, was that they fell off the side. Even when Shane comes off the top... It's like, well, you're doing that only to try to top somebody else, and that's never gonna be as effective as the original.
And also, the whole reason they had that match in the cell was for Shane to do that spot.
Exactly, and that's not the reason for the cell,
No.
So you have instead the alternative to that is you try to make use of the cell and you emphasize the brutality that the visual nature of the cell brings with it.
Yes.
So you put on a brutal match. And Rusev and Reigns tried to do that, and I thought it was not as effective, and we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
But Rollins and Owens, they, number one, I love when they do, and nowadays I just think of New Japan because I've been watching that a bunch, when they do the sequences.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that spot was great.
Because you don't see that a lot in the WWE. You see that a bunch in New Japan, in Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
But they did the sequence, and I loved it because I know both these guys coming from Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
That's kind of the stuff they probably wish they could do more often.
Yes, I know. And it's like, I sort of understand, if you will, you call it the Vader viewpoint, where when you see Ricochet and Ospreay doing what kind of looks sometimes like a performance piece, as opposed to two guys fighting. But I thought with Owens and Rollins, they know how to strike a balance.
Yes.
Because I think there's room for both of those things.
Yeah.
On totally both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah. But going back to the sequence idea, I wonder if this is completely off topic of this match, is some of the reason why the cruiserweights haven't translated to Raw exactly post Cruiserweight Classic. And I thought about this last night. I don't know who's booking those matches on Raw, and if it's a different person who was doing it on the Cruiserweight Classic,
right?
But it just seems in general that they're having the cruiserweights slow things down.
Yeah, I know they are,
and not letting them do sequences and doing a long series of moves.
That's what I mean. That's one of the big things, is that, like, I really thought that the cruiserweight division was going to be like a mini juniors division from New Japan. I thought it was going to be like that. I thought it was going to be a lot of really cool spots, really cool sequencing.
Yeah, I mean, like they go, through all the effort of rebranding everything.
I know,
for those matches,
but then they're just regular matches.
But then they force them to wrestle the WWE style.
I know, It boggles my mind that they would bring people in and then have them do that.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I know.
It boggles my mind.
And I'm guessing that Vince or Kevin Dunn or both think that style just translates better on television.
Yeah.
But as we saw with the Cruiserweight Classic, that translated just fine.
Yeah. I wonder if it'd be, I'm telling you, it'd be fascinating to be on the inside and to know the politics, because it makes you wonder, like, with all that Triple H has done with NXT and the Cruiserweight division, if he just feels completely frustrated, or if he understands there's give and take, which you would have to. Otherwise you're
I mean,
shoot your
I'm
brains
sure with his dealings on main roster stuff, there might be some frustration. But as you said, there's give and take. But at least he has the outlets of NXT and the Cruiserweight Classic to kind of do the things that he might want to do.
Because like the stuff like Total Bellas and Total Divas, I would think that Triple H would be like, hey, you know what? I understand that's good for the company, but I don't give a shit about any of that stuff. I care about like bringing compelling wrestling stories to people. And I wonder if that's sort of what we think is like a Kevin Dunn type thing is, sort of being stuck in one specific thing.
Yeah.
Over and
concentrating
over again.
more on the entertainment
aspect
as opposed to the wrestling aspect.
If that's stifling, if it's like, man, am I ever going to get a shot to like really bring what I think could be, influences from places like New Japan, Ring of Honor, CMLL or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And really, and be able to mesh those in one singular vision would really be interesting.
Yeah.
I think that'd be
pretty awesome.
It'd be awesome. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, there was some really good, when Rollins, it was funny when Rollins got Kevin Owens for that powerbomb and Kevin Owens went back down, kind of.
Yeah.
And it looked like he was setting up for a Styles
I know.
Clash. I was so hoping. How amazing would that be if Rollins just got one foot over his arm and then they aborted it?
Yeah.
And then Owens was like, whoa, no. And that would have geeked out the crowd a little bit.
I know.
Like, Rollins going to do the Styles Clash.
I know.
That'd have been kind of cool if because it's not gimmick infringement. It was like, threatened gimmick infringement.
Yeah.
And then they didn't. They did the powerbomb spot. But, credit to Kevin Owens and Rollins for getting him back up there without releasing him.
I know.
And then walking over there with that big boy and putting him through the table was a really great spot.
Yeah, it was. And Seth brought back the buckle bomb kind of on Jericho. He powerbombed him into the cell.
He needs to not. Well, I know, but the cell
cell will give.
But the cell will give, but also it's not the reinforcement isn't ending here and allowing this to happen.
No, I know.
You've got the entire thing.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that. You just stay away from the buckle.
Or the barrier.
Yeah, or the barrier.
The barricade,
God, the barricade, exactly. So it was a good match. I just, the Jericho's involvement, I thought probably should have been relegated to the finish. Mm-hmm. Let these guys go at it. And then Jericho somehow gets in the finish. And I know like the logistics of the cell and when they could get him in logically made sense probably the way they did it as opposed to having some sort of interference in the end. But you can always write
We
stuff.
should talk a little bit about their appearance on Raw Talk.
Oh, it was great. It was fantastic. I had to watch it like late last night. I was like,
it was really good
because I had to go run some errands after the show. Yeah, I mean, it was fun. Jericho just going overboard with the list.
I know.
Linus, he's on the list. It's a fictional character.
I know.
It's a Kevin Owens.
And Owens was looking back at the set and was like, for the Raw Talk logo, was like, is that the Wi-Fi symbol? But he didn't even finish his thought.
Yeah, I know.
It was
It's great. Then he said, Booker T was. I love Booker. I know.
Booker T is fantastic.
Too many people out there are like, oh, he just rambles nonsense. I'm like, so does JBL and Otunga, but they're not entertaining. And I love Booker T. I love him so much.
Me too.
And he says,
he's so good.
You guys are bosom buddies. And he's like, bosom. That sounds like breasts, which is weird to say that. He is so flipping good. Like, just his everything is an aside, and it's so great. Mm-hmm. Those guys, like, I just, just check it. Oh, and the fact that Jericho called it a David Pumpkins shirt.
Yeah.
Do you know what David Pumpkins is? The Tom Hanks thing. Oh, my God. I was cracking up because how many people, number one, watch Saturday Night Live anymore?
I know.
And number two, it's not like that thing really went viral.
Yeah.
So Jericho knows what it is, which is great. David Pumpkins shirt. Oh, David Pumpkins. Oh, gosh. That was great.
All good stuff.
All good stuff. And
KO said that they were both Universal Champion.
Yeah. So they're still in the same. He gave Jericho a big old kiss when he got into the cell. There's legitimate joy between those two.
Yep.
And that's why, when I say I'm sure that I don't think he's tired of being overshadowed by the list of Jericho. I just think when given an opportunity to show how good of a wrestler he is,
he's still probably a competitive guy.
He's probably just really up for that, because I think his initial run coming in NXT, and then his first run with the U.S. title or the NXT title, the U.S. title.
You mean the Intercontinental?
The Intercontinental title.
Yeah.
He got so many more opportunities to demonstrate that. Like lately, it hasn't been like, we haven't really been talking about, man, Kevin Owens, look at his arsenal. Look what he's busting out in this move. We haven't been talking about that because he hasn't been given that opportunity lately.
Yeah, he hasn't had apart from the last pay-per-view and this one, has he had a singles match on Raw? Or have they all been tag matches? Or the triple threat match?
It feels like it's been that.
Yeah, he hasn't had a one-on-one match for a while on Raw.
If he has, they haven't really been letting him do a lot of stuff. I mean, he's had Jericho with him the whole time, so I imagine there's been a lot of Jericho interference. And
did Owens and Rollins have no? They didn't, because Rollins hurt his ribs. Did they have a rematch on Raw that night after Clash of Champions? But they didn't.
Yeah, I don't think. No, he didn't even. Yeah,
because Rollins
was in his civilians the entire time. So yeah, it was a fantastic match through and through. I think this would, like I said on the Twitters, I said this would probably replace Rollins Ambrose on our top 10 best Hell in a Cell match list.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. I'm a bigger Owens fan than I am of Ambrose.
Yes,
especially in ring. So let's see here. What else happened? Let's talk about the third triple main event match,
which opened the show.
Was Rusev Reigns. Here's my thing. I think that vest needs to be incorporated into story. And I understand their reluctance to do so, because that would be acknowledging that it's a huge advantage for him to be wearing that thick Kevlar vest. I know it's not Kevlar, but that thick-ass vest.
I'll try to think if they had done that before. I vaguely remember one time where someone took the vest off him. I mean, there was one. It was Rusev that, wasn't it? They hit him in the vest once and then shook his hand because it hurt in a match.
Owens,
that's right. Owens.
It was Owens. Yeah. The only guy who's actually playing to the logic that you need, because wrestling, you have to check the logic at the door
to an extent.
There's the suspension of disbelief that we're already going into because this is fake fighting.
Yeah.
But then, so after that point, it works best if there's logic. And this is one thing that Dan, I wish he was here for, because he always is the one to point out the lack of logic when it's there. Yeah. And I actually liked we knew that this was going to be just a physical match, and I like that about it. But there's two things. It's so difficult to think that Roman is getting hurt at all with that vest.
And he makes no effort to convincingly sell pain at all.
By and large, you can't do much up here because of concussion shit. You can't do much up here. So what are you going to do? Hit him on the arms? Hit him on the legs? Who cares about that? It's all here. And when he's attacking Rusev with that kendo stick, it's like, fuck, that probably hurts. I wouldn't want that dude hitting me in a bare chest with a kendo stick.
Yeah.
And Rusev sells it to perfection. So when the table is turned and Rusev is hitting him on the chest, and the announcers are trying to sell it, even through that vest, that's got to hurt. That's got to hurt his ribs. No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
He's probably laughing, for real, that just doesn't look like it hurts at all.
The chain might have hurt, because Rusev was really swinging that chain pretty hard.
But still,
it was an instant where I saw him swing the chain. I was like, oh, wow, that's probably hurts. Oh, wait, he's got a vest on.
Yeah. It's like, even if it hurts, it's not going to be
the full force of impact. I understand your point.
It doesn't. I thought the accolade with the chain in his mouth, I thought that was really good. I thought that was really good.
To see Reigns power out of that, which I was sure was going to happen, but still, I mean, it's such a compelling visual.
Yeah.
For the match to finish that way and for Rusev to win.
Yeah.
Have Reigns pass out.
I know.
Have Reigns pass out.
I know.
And then, but it's the superhero thing again.
And then my biggest, it doesn't help at all that it's like, he's not going to sell it during the match, that this is Hell in a Cell. And that's part of Hell in a Cell is selling the cell.
Yes.
You're in there, you're being brutalized. Look at how Sasha sold last night,
Yeah.
She was just devastated. Like, she was just completely and utterly destroyed, and she kept on coming back.
Yeah.
And then, but Reigns shows up on Raw Talk, and the illusion of that cell being the most brutal structure, that you're changed after you've gone through it,
Yeah. He didn't sell that at all.
is gone. Yeah, man, I'm aiming for, and he looks like $1 million. Hey, I'm aiming for Kevin Owens now. Yeah, I just went through the Hell in a Cell 2 hours ago, 3 hours,
I know.
2.5 hours ago.
And you look fine.
And you look great. You look amazing. You're an immaculate-looking human being, Roman Reigns. But you shouldn't be after Hell in a Cell.
Like, he should have had a hard time talking after having a chain through his mouth.
He should have an ice pack. An ice pack right here.
Yeah.
And a small ice pack.
Yeah.
Just right here. Go to Chris Amon.
Or even just make a comment.
Make a comment.
Having a hard time talking because I just had a chain in my mouth.
Yeah. I'm still feeling the effects. Hey, no, man, I'm doing great.
I got 2 shoulders. I need another belt.
And yeah, exactly. Wait, did he say that?
He said, God granted me 2 broad shoulders, and I have a belt on one of them.
Where is the selling? Like, that's, and that, it's funny because, like, I said the match is overwhelming, like, right afterwards, and that was the punctuation mark to it, because it was underwhelming because I want to see Roman get hurt.
I know.
I want to see him, and that's by and large, I was like, oh, cool spots, a couple cool moments, but I don't think that Roman...
There was never a moment where you thought Roman might actually lose.
Right, exactly. And that was what... You need that. You need that, It's like Sasha Charlotte, she was literally on the stretcher when they said, and your new champion is... And then flips out and gets up. And she's like, okay, that's as long as I can rest. So, yeah, I don't know. Anyways.
Yeah, I don't know either. Really, Rusev should have won with the chain.
Like, I wouldn't put it on the bad list. I put it on the list of matches that I just don't care about.
Yeah, that's why, earlier you said I might think that was spectacular. No, it was good. Had some good moments.
Yeah.
Rusev looked great.
Yeah. Well, Rusev is always good. When he turns face, it's going to be electric.
Yeah.
It's going to be, because he's already getting, we love Rusev. Rusev sucks. He's already getting that. So you got half the crowd on board.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see here. What else are we going to talk about today?
Bailey and Dana Brooke. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, let's talk about Bailey, Dana Brooke. So Dana Brooke, I thought this had the potential to be a squash match, and by and large, Bailey dominated.
Oh yeah.
And I love how Bailey sells. She sells so good.
Yeah, she had the ice pack on her shoulder on
Raw Talk. Yeah. She was about to be on Jericho's list.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was just like, don't do that. Don't put me. She was like, I don't want to be on the list. It was a good match. I think, this match was good, was decent, because Dana Brooke didn't botch any spots.
I know.
So that's always a good thing. And I guess the bigger question, though, is where does Bailey go from here? Where does Dana Brooke go from here?
I don't know where Dana Brooke goes from here at all.
I think that maybe they can put her sort of in the limbo of beating up on jobbers and lower level faces.
Maybe.
But have her beat up on Summer Rae.
Okay.
I mean, I was
going to say name some lower level faces on Raw in the women's division.
Yeah, you got Summer Rae, you got Alicia Fox. That's who you got, and that takes you through the Rumble. Maybe. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know what her. I mean, Emma Lena's coming in or whatever.
Yeah.
So who knows what she's going to be. I don't know. I we can sit here and talk about Dana Brooke, but I don't really care about Dana Brooke. I think she's got some upside to her.
Yeah,
but
she just needs some more experience.
She needed more time in NXT. We both know that. We both talked about that. Where's Bailey? So Bailey versus Sasha seems to be the next thing.
No,
I'm sorry. Bailey versus Charlotte. I always say those names wrong.
Bailey mentioned Charlotte and the women's title on Raw Talk last night, so that makes it seem like that's the next program for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which, I mean, do you think they would take that to Mania?
I would. This is going to be my early prediction.
Or just take it to the Rumble.
I think we're going to see a redo of what we already saw when Bailey was fresh. I think we're going to see a triple threat at Mania.
I thought that too.
That would seem to make the most sense, because at that point, Bayley's going to be, and there might be a title switch. We might see Bayley pick up that title for a bit, and then maybe head into Mania as the champion. I don't know. I think Bayley maybe winning at Mania, even Sasha winning at Mania, would be pretty big. But I think Bayley winning at Mania would be the bigger thing.
Yes, absolutely.
And so I could see a triple threat with that happening, and Sasha and Charlotte really putting her over. You know, I think that'll probably be the case.
Yeah, that was my thought too.
And if that's the situation, I think the next 4 months of program. Well, how far? Let's see. April is for 6 months.
5 months.
About
yeah.
6 months of program. It's
Yeah.
gonna be really. I think could be really interesting if they plot it out well.
I know.
And not have and
Not have someone wake up the day of a pay-per-view and change their mind.
Exactly.
Let's talk about the cruiserweights a little bit.
Okay. We kind of. I just want Cedric Alexander. Can we just fast forward one? Cedric or Rich Swann? I think Cedric. They had him pick up the win in the pre-show.
Yeah.
With what do they call it?
Lumbar check.
Lumbar check.
That looks like it hurts. That and Roderick Strong's finisher both look like they really
Oh,
hurt.
dude. Wrestling Roderick Strong looks like it hurts.
Yeah, we went to the NXT live event here in Sacramento, and he wrestled Oni Lorcan.
Yeah.
And they put on a really physical match.
It was as if they were wrestling in the main event
I know.
At a pay-per-view.
Which I appreciate that they put forth that much effort.
At a Sacramento
in
house
front
show.
of 1,000 people in Sacramento.
That was a lot of fun. That was a really fun match, but boy, they were
when
stiff.
they were chopping each other, you could hear it echo in their chests.
My goodness, yeah, that was crazy.
It was stiff and it was fantastic.
It was something else. And so it was a good. I only caught bits and pieces of the 6-man tag, but I know Cedric went over.
Yep.
And I saw that finish. Love him. We both love him.
Yes.
Kendrick versus Perk. Kendrick picked up that win. Yeah, you called it.
Yep.
I mean, I always err on the side of them dragging things out too long.
Yeah, I know.
But this made total sense. And I love it. I think Kendrick is the guy to hold this until somebody better takes it from him that isn't TJ Perkins. I don't know what to do. I mean, he's so bland.
I know.
But I'm kind of worried that TJ might take it back from him. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, he'll get his rematch, obviously.
Yeah.
I guess it'd be a Survivor Series. You hear Survivor Series be 4 hours long this year?
Yeah, it's not surprising. I
don't know what they're going to... I mean, are each of the Survivor Series matches going to be 45 minutes long? I don't know how they're going to fill 4 hours.
There are 3 of the... Fuck, I don't know. Man.
I don't know. Anyways.
But it's a cross-brand thing. So,
oh, I know. And they're trying to make their...
Baron Corbin will be on the main card.
All their major shows, events, I guess.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I'm sure Perkins will get a rematch. But, that spot last night where Kendrick feigned injury to gain the upper hand, I'm sure Perkins was trying his damnedest to sell it. This wasn't that convincing.
Okay, no, go through that. What do you mean?
Well, okay, the Kendrick's on the ground, and Perkins is supposed to sell concern for his friend.
Right.
And he tried. So in that respect, I understood what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it just didn't seem that convincing. Do you...
No, I agree completely. I've just gotten so used to not. I have gotten used to him not being very good at emoting.
Yeah,
that's it. Like whether it's in a backstage locker room thing where Kendrick looks like he could be in like an indie movie.
Yeah,
where he's like a guy down on his luck and,
on Raw,
he's desperately begging somebody to lay down for him.
Yeah, on Raw, he looked like he was on the verge of tears.
I know, and that's what I love about him, but. TJ Perkins, I don't. How old is TJ Perkins?
I think he's 31.
Okay. By the time you're 31, especially in wrestling, if you've been doing it for a long time, which I know he has.
I know, but we don't know how much promo stuff he's done. We know he's wrestled a lot.
Yeah.
But when he was in TNA, wasn't he a masked wrestler?
Yeah, I think so.
So maybe this whole the emoting, the acting part of it is still pretty fresh and new to him.
He looks so young.
I know.
And he acts like he's fresh.
I think in terms of
that element
of wrestling, he is.
I know, but well, 31's different than 34.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That sounds stupid, but you know what I mean
Yes,
because we're
in
both
terms
way
of
past
experience,
that.
yes.
In terms of experience,
Yes.
34 seems to be that. Isn't how old is Seth? Isn't 34 yet?
No.
How old is Seth? See, Seth's different, and that's why I always say Seth to me is Eddie Guerrero minus the experience because Eddie was older. Eddie was like 40, I think, when he died.
Yeah.
Or 39. So, like, all that time that we got with Eddie, that preceding 5 years where he was great,
Yeah.
was older, grizzled,
Yeah.
life being married to Vicky Guerrero, having how many kids they had.
Yeah.
All that was in his voice, was in his delivery,
But
was
he
in his
also had-
promos.
10 plus years of not only wrestling, but of delivering promos.
Yeah.
Doing backstage segments.
That's true.
All that.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
Kendrick, he was in WWE before. Mm-hmm. He knows.
Yeah,
he
he's
knows.
been around for
He
a long
knows
time,
how to
yeah.
do all that stuff.
Yeah.
And Perkins just might not have the experience or the reps essentially of doing that.
Yeah.
And
So-
I think he will, because he tries. He puts forth his best effort. He really does.
I think he does too.
And I think with more reps, with more experience, more practice, he will get better.
Yeah, I know, but it's going to be years. I think it's going to be come back when you're 34.
Could be.
And you don't look like you're 12. Because the appearance goes a long way.
I understand
It
that,
really
yeah.
does. Kevin Owens looks all of his 34 years.
Yeah.
If he's 34.
I think he's that old.
You really? Is he 32?
I thought he was like 31 or 32.
Let's look at. You think Kevin Owens is 31?
I thought so. Maybe I'm confusing his age with Seth. He's 33.
He's 32.
Oh, okay.
He's 32. All right. He's 84 though. He's in 1984 though. Okay, so yeah, okay.
Yeah,
And then how is Seth? Is Seth even 30 yet?
I don't think so. I think he's like 29.
He's 30.
Okay.
He is 30. He just turned 30 this year. Okay. So, yeah, I don't know. But Kevin Owens, I mean.
But he's been wrestling since he's been, 16, 17 like that?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Age matters, though.
Yeah.
Age definitely matters. And TJ, I don't know.
Experience matters.
Experience matters. I know. Experience matters. But, yeah, I don't know. I'm happy it's on Kendrick. And charisma matters. And I think that's one thing why I know Cedric Alexander is probably 15 years old. But put that belt on him. He's got all the charisma in the world.
Yeah, he does.
And he knows. Talk about emoting.
Yes.
He knows how to emote.
Yes, he knows how to sell. He knows how to emote in the ring, out of the ring.
How old is Cedric Alexander?
Probably his late 20s.
Late? I'm going
Yeah.
to say he's 24.
I'll say 28.
27. You're closer. Okay. So, yeah.
But he's been wrestling for a while.
Probably. All these guys start off when they're like freaking 12 years old, man. I'm telling you. Let's see here. Let's talk about Enzo and Cass. Can we talk about a minute about Enzo and Cass versus the Club?
Okay.
We knew going in the Club isn't going to lose a major match. They'll lose little ones in their feuds. They're not going to lose any blow-off matches until they have the tag titles.
Yep.
That is blatantly obvious.
Yep.
And Enzo and Cass's promo last night, I know it was a very local-centric, very crowd-centric promo. But about halfway through, I was like, okay, this is one of those I can sit out because I really didn't understand a fucking word of what Enzo was saying. And you know me, I love Enzo and Cass.
Yeah.
I love them. It's just sometimes we get the same thing. Let's see here. And the New Day versus Cesaro and Sheamus. I was actually okay with the dusty finish on this one.
Yeah.
We should probably say, the Club went over, Reigns went over. because I don't know, we've been saying, Kendrick, we've been saying who's going over.
Yeah.
The Club went over. And then New Day lost by DQ because Sheamus was on the outside.
Yeah, he used Francesca number 2 to hit Kofi.
To hit Big E,
Yeah,
and then
sorry.
while the ref wasn't looking, and then the ref turned to look, and Kofi kicked Sheamus.
Yeah.
Ref threw it out. DQ.
Yeah.
New Day loses. Keep the titles.
Yes.
Cesaro was beside himself.
Well, he was upset that Sheamus
because he
led,
had Xavier Woods tapping
out.
That's
yeah.
right. So,
and I guess he thought Sheamus was getting too involved in the ringside area.
I actually like that finish. What did you think of that?
Didn't bother me.
It didn't bother me either because, it kind of sucks. We knew going in, New Day's not losing these titles.
Yeah.
That's what we're working with.
Yeah.
You can't be upset that they didn't drop the titles because we know they're going to break the record. This is what we're dealt.
And then,
take it
Yeah.
and see what they can do with it.
Yeah.
And what they did with it, I thought was fine.
Yeah.
There's not gonna be any
they
title
managed to
change.
make Sheamus and Cesaro look strong while protecting the New Day and keeping the belts on them.
And I think it advances the story of Cesaro and Sheamus not being on the same page. And I think that's okay. They're still going to, they tried to be cool with each other in I thought a relatively cute backstage segment.
But that quickly devolved into them bickering again.
Ex-
And then during the match, Sheamus bro kicked Cesaro, but then he made every effort to help Cesaro out from that point.
Exactly.
And even when the DQ finish happened, it wasn't because Sheamus was trying to cost them the match. He was trying to help them win it.
Now, this is going to be an interesting proposition here because I feel like it's going to be the club getting the titles while Sheamus and Cesaro are figuring this out, and then we might have a club versus a face Cesaro and Sheamus. What do you think? I think that they're getting to the point where that's going to be a thing. I think these guys have enough talent and charisma, and I'm saying Sheamus has charisma because in certain situations he does.
He does.
It's just when he's presented in a certain manner, when they try to get him to do something that's against probably what he's good at, it doesn't work. Same thing with Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
We could be huge fans of Roman Reigns. The guy looks like $1 million. He's got charisma. It's just they try to present him in a manner that doesn't quite work for us and for a lot of people out there.
Well, and I think it probably doesn't necessarily work for him either.
Right, exactly.
And so when he was delivering those promos, a year or so ago that were really awkward.
Yeah.
He wasn't convincing because he didn't believe in it.
Exactly. And he's out there trying to remember lines more than and trying to present something that just isn't him.
Yeah.
Well, Sheamus is kind of the same way. Like I was legitimately surprised, and then I saw in the paper, I'm like, oh my god, they are booing Sheamus because I'm not booing him on the inside here, and I'm half the time when I'm watching, I kind of have the sound down, so I'm not really understanding what the crowd reactions are.
Yeah.
Beyond sometimes I watch a match, I'm like, oh, what's the crowd doing? But I really like this team up, and I like that they're taking I want them to take their time with the story because I think more time will mean a stronger crowd reaction. People will care more.
So when they inevitably split and have their blow off match,
which you keep on suggesting is going to happen.
Going to happen.
All right. When do you think it's going to happen? Mania? Mm-hmm. Really? It's going to be as close as soon as Mania? Who goes over though? Who goes over?
Cesaro.
How can anybody ever go? Really?
Yeah.
How can anybody ever go over in this? I love this. Like you know what I think would be great. Never have a blow off match. Have them be split up by the brands. Because that way you always have...
Or, do that, and then, in 2 years, have a blow-off match.
No blow-off match.
Yeah, have a blow-off match.
Enough of your blow-off match.
Got to have a blow-off match. Their best of 7 was never
That's why
settled.
It's great.
They'll settle it eventually.
Superman and the Flash never really settled who was faster. Although it really should be the Flash. That's his thing.
You would think so.
If that's not his thing, then, why is he on the Justice League?
I know. When there's another guy that's better than him at the thing he's supposed to be good at.
Exactly. Plus, he does a million more things.
In theory, Superman is better than pretty much everybody else in the Justice League.
That's true. I know, exactly.
Pretty much anything.
Well, no, but he's a dullard, though. He's not as smart as Batman.
That's
and
true.
That's sort of Batman's thing. I don't know.
Superman really a dullard, or is he just not as smart as Batman?
I like thinking of him as a dullard.
Okay.
Because he's Clark Kent. He's always hapless.
Well, that's his front, though.
That's his gimmick. Cruiserweight 6-man, Owens, Rollins. I think we talked about everything.
Yeah, we talked about everything.
I think we talked about everything.
What do we expect to see on Raw?
Yeah, considering this is going in Raw, what do you guys expect to see in a couple hours? Hopefully, if this is up by then. What do they expect to see on Raw?
I wouldn't be surprised to see New Day versus Cesaro and Sheamus. I fully expect that.
Kendrick versus Perkins rematch.
Maybe.
Probably.
It's hard to tell what they're going to say for Survivor Series,
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Because they have 4 hours to fill, and that's a lot of time.
That is a lot
with
of time.
only 4 matches announced.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, we're going to see what's going to happen with Charlotte and Sasha tonight. What do you think?
That's going to be interesting.
That is going to be interesting. Charlotte comes out, rubs everybody's faces in her doo-doo. And then Sasha... It'd be great if they had Sasha still in her ring gear from the night before. She's like limp crawling out there thinking that she still can go. Didn't realize that she got beat. I don't know.
What do you think the odds they have a rematch tonight?
I like that. I don't know. A rematch tonight and Sasha wins. That's like Sasha's streak is like always winning in the rematch on Raw.
On Raw, but can't win on. But that's a story. That's a story they can build, especially going to Mania. Because assuming Charlotte walks into Mania as champ. And at that point, another 5 months? That's a year, almost
What is the
about a
streak
year and a half.
What is the streak specifically?
That she has won 13 straight pay-per-view matches, including
man.
12 straight title matches. Well, now 14 or 13
13 straight title matches
on pay-per-view.
That's not a good streak because that takes all the attention out of things.
Unless they're building that up to make it, comparable to the Undertaker streak, where you walk into WrestleMania and you always thought, no way he loses, no way he loses. And granted, we probably won't have that same mindset specifically with Charlotte walking into a pay-per-view, but knowing that she's never lost at a pay-per-view,
right?
You think, okay, well, it's a pay-per-view. Charlotte wins a pay-per-view, so Charlotte's going to win the match. So if you build it up to WrestleMania, whoever beats her, whether it be Bayley or Sasha at WrestleMania, is going to, they're vanquishing this champion who never loses on a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And that's just a solid building block for a good story.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm going to say I don't know. I am intrigued. I'll probably be underwhelmed. And then we'll bitch about it tomorrow.
His reign's going to start making a push for that Universal title.
Boy, that would be short-lived.
It'd be a bummer, too.
I don't really want him in that scene.
No.
But what does Owens do in the meantime? Because I would think that they're going to go with Jericho Rollins, right?
Maybe.
In the meantime? No
Maybe.
Triple H last night.
I know.
No Triple H.
They seem to be teasing that, but then I'm assuming that Jericho and Owens are both going to be on the Raw Survivor Series team. They've kind of implied that already.
Jericho said he wants to be the captain or something.
Yeah. Well, they said on Raw Talk they wouldn't be the co-captains.
Okay, so we're probably going to start that then. That's going to be the big focus tonight is the Survivor Series stuff. So what are we thinking for the Survivor Series Raw roster?
Well, we'll assume Owens.
I wonder if they're going to have matches to determine who's going to be on the team.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
We got to assume Owens and Jericho.
Yeah.
They've talked about it.
What's Rollins going to do? Be interesting if they had like a face/heel.
I'm sure they will.
I
I'm sure they will. I mean, they want to, in theory, take their 5 best competitors from each division.
Right.
Assuming there's actual stakes.
Reigns and Rollins and Owens and Jericho on the same team together, and then who's the 5th guy? Rusev Machka.
Could be.
That's our 5 biggest guys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Jericho's kind of the odd man out, but he's in there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there you go. 5 best guys.
Yeah. Who do you think the 5 best for SmackDown would be? Apparently, Cena got pulled from advertising for a Survivor Series.
Oh, no.
So, no Cena.
Well, then they're going to lose.
AJ. Ambrose.
Think Baron?
I guess.
Should be Baron.
AJ, Ambrose, and then Orton.
Dolph Miz.
Orton. And then Bray and Luke Harper.
You think so?
Maybe.
No Miz Dolph? Or are they going to have a match of their own at Survivor Series?
Maybe.
I don't know. I like when I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what I like. I want unpredictability because we don't have another pay-per-view until Survivor Series, right?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Is Goldberg
about a
going
month
to be
away.
live?
Supposed to be on Raw tonight, yeah.
On Raw or live via satellite?
Well, he's supposed to make an appearance.
Make an appearance. Okay, probably live via
I don't know
satellite.
what capacity.
Guess what, Brock? You were last. I love Goldberg. Anyways. All right, so yeah, we'll find out. We got to get this up so people can watch this and then watch Raw, though. All right. Too sweet?
Nope.
For Halloween?
No way.
You going to have a good time tonight? Halloween? Yeah?
Yeah.
You're actually going to have a good time?
I'll try.
What are you going to do?
Walk.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a good time. Act like you care about kids getting candy, and then the nightmare of having to tell them you can't really have all that candy. that's our lives now.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is mine is so young that you know the difference. I'm just like, give me your candy.
Yeah.
19-month-old. What are you gonna do, brother?
Yeah.
You know. Anyways, that's it for our lives. We'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.